I really believe that God wants us to share our wisdom and our life experiences to others so that we could help them either through their areas of life that they might be in or to help them avoid items that we have been through. And so our next guest speaker is going to share how creating a coaching business could actually help change the world.
Building spirituality, family, health, and business. This is The Giant Builders with Lois Wyant.
Welcome, Giant Builders. I'm glad you're here, and I'm excited to have our guest today is Nina Perez. Hi, Nina. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for having me on. I'm excited.
Oh, I am too. Well, can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Sure. I am a transformational life and business coach. I help women, purpose-driven women that want to create all of their wisdom and their talents into a coaching business. So I help them from concept to launch. It's really fun.
What inspired you to become a transformational life coach?
Well, a lot of things, right? But most of it was my life experiences, right? Because when you go through things and you realize how difficult it is to come out on the other end, you start to create empathy. You start to have this way of looking at life, and you don't want anybody else going through those challenges alone. And so I started back in 2002. I started as a Christian leader for women. Back then we called it leadership. We didn't call it coaching. And so I led women, to just break through all the emotional barriers and things like that. And then in that went on for years. And then I wrote my autobiography in 2018, and it's called Hit Me With Your Best Shot: How I Overcame a Hard-Hitting Life. And that actually helped so many people connect to things they didn't want to talk about: abuse, domestic violence, things like that. And I realized, wow, there's a lot of people who need some healing. And I've been through a lot, and I've gone through it, and I've overcome a lot, so I should help. And that's what I did. So I became an author, a speaker, coach. I went back to school, got my master in neurolinguistic programming and positive intelligence and all that kind of stuff, because I don't want to be stuck in my life anymore, but I also don't want anybody else to be stuck either. So that's what really started me on my journey. Is I believe that our life, Lois, is about overcoming something in life and then helping our fellow person, helping somebody else get there too. Yeah.
Oh, I love that because I think we all have something to overcome. So,
Yes. 100%. Yeah.
well, Giant Builders, we're going to have a link to Nina's book below, so please check it out. You have a system called Wisdom to Wealth System. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah. Wisdom is really like an acronym. So it goes into three phases. It's inner healing, transcending unwanted behaviors, and then co-creation. But wisdom itself is, W is, of course, for wisdom. It's about using your past experiences and how you can actually use that to leverage your expertise, your God-given talents, your story, all of that to start creating, a business that aligns with who you are. And then I in wisdom is inner healing. And that's really to get rid of all the stuff, right? The imposter syndrome, the fear, all of those emotional blocks, things that really stop you from becoming what you are meant to become. Because I really believe we all have a really big purpose. Now, really big doesn't mean a millionaire purpose or, you have to go and change the world, but it does mean that you have purpose as a person, right? And then S is for strategic planning. Like you really have to have a clear plan. How are you going to do this? What's your 90-day roadmap? What are we doing? So we're going to take your wisdom, all that healing that you've been doing, and how do we put that into a strategy? And then D is for drive and determination, because building any business, I deal with women who are building coaching businesses, but it's not an overnight success, right? It's about consistency. It's about determination. It's about drive. It's about how you show up every day. And then O is opportunities for growth. And this is where we really start to leverage ways for you to grow. This is where we get into that untapped opportunity in what you do, who you are, how you show up, all that kind of stuff. What are the skill sets that you bring to the table? And then M is really for like making meaningful connections, marketing, things like that. How do you connect with people so that they're just not like followers or, something like, but actually become fans, actually really love who you are and want to consume what you have in the world that'll help them be better people. So that's my framework.
And I love that. I really
Thank
do.
you.
I think that's great. Well,
Thank
then,
you.
okay, so women who want to become coaches or transition
Yes.
to coach, I think, as I think about it, I think most of us are already coaching something,
Yep.
one,
Yep.
somehow. But how do you trans into like coaching as a business type of thing? What
Yeah,
are
it's really
barriers?
about taking, yeah, well, I think we overthink things, right? And we make things overcomplicated and they don't need to be. There's a lot of wisdom that we all bring to the table. I think it's just a matter of really lining it out and saying, okay, what is it that I have that the market needs? And the way we do that first, at least in my program, is I really sit down with you for a good 90 minutes and we break down your wisdom. What have you learned? What have you done? What do you do? How do you do it? All that kind of strategy that we sit there and do because most of us don't realize the amount of wisdom that we have from all of our years of lived and professional experience. And so I like to show them that by doing this whole, big spreadsheet that I have, and we go through question to question together. And then the second part of that sheet is your spiritual connections. Who are you spiritually? What do you bring to the table spiritually? How do you connect with people at that deeper level? What are your God-given talents? Are you somebody who has wisdom? Are you somebody who has service? Are you somebody, like all of those deeper questions that come up. Now, that part of it, I allow you and God to kind of get together and see what that looks like. What does that formulate? Then we come back together and say, okay, this is what I'm seeing as a line through your entire life and business. What do you think? Because I don't ever want to tell Lois or anybody what you should bring out because that's what you need to be doing. Somebody did that with me and it actually really stumped my growth because I realized that I wasn't aligned with what they were telling me to do, but I was doing it because somebody told me to do it. And so now I've taken all my years of wisdom, my hundreds of thousands of dollars that I've spent on coaches and markets and all that stuff. And I started to say, you know what? I want to actually have the woman that's in front of me be truly aligned with what she's doing. Otherwise, she's not going to be successful. And if she's not successful, I'm not successful because I'm not helping her. Right. And so, really, that's what it's about. It's about taking that wisdom and seeing what are the key factors in your life that transformed you. What happened and how did you get through that transformation? What did you learn at your last job? How did you help? How did you show up every day? What do you do at home if you're a stay-at-home mom? Because that's the biggest job in the world. How do you manage the time? How do you take your kids to where they want to be? How do you do, you know what I mean? Like there's so much wisdom in us. And so you honestly, I always tell this and I really mean this. Don't do it alone because you get in a silo and then you don't see outside of that, right? So I always tell people, look, if you're a coach, get a coach. If you're a doctor, get a doctor. If you're a therapist, get a therapist. But you should never do the journey alone, period. Right? And so that's what I think about taking your wisdom and making it into a coaching practice. You have it. Just what is it and how do we bring that out?
And it could be something that you just take for granted. Like my daughter-in-law, they have an autistic child. And I just see her work with him and think, man, you should share what you're doing
A hundred
with
percent.
women with, you know, young children with autism because it's just
Mm-hmm.
amazing on how she just the whole conversation is different than with
Yeah,
other children.
a
So,
100%. And that's very helpful. And I mean, it's so impactful. I have a grandson who has autism
mhm.
and he's 5 years old, but he's nonverbal.
Okay.
And, so we're constantly like, eat, you know what I'm saying? Like we're trying to show him different ways of communicating so that he's not frustrated. So he's not throwing things in anger because he's trying to tell you, but he doesn't know how, right?
Mhm.
And so my daughter will never get on camera. She's just not that kind of person. I try to convince her, but she won't do it. But I think your daughter-in-law should definitely do that because it will help someone. And she can also leverage the skill sets that she's learning by teaching her son or daughter. Is it a daughter or son?
It's a son. Hmm.
Son. Teaching her son. She can make that into a viable business for herself so she can be at home with him more, so she can help him more, right? Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
Like, people might say, "Oh, you're going to use that to make money." Yes, that's actually yes. Why wouldn't I? Because if I can leverage that, that can help me be at home with my baby. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like people just always have a comment or something to say or something that's cruel or mean. And that's when you know you're on the right track. That's what I always say. When I get hate mail or whatever, I'm like, yes, that means I'm doing exactly what I should be doing. So I encourage her to do that too. I mean, if you want to share that, just say, I got a second opinion and says that you should be doing this because it will help a lot of people, because autism, unfortunately, is on the rise. So it would be very helpful to help others. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, well, their first reaction was, well, this is our first child, so we didn't know. Well,
Right.
even if it was your second or third child, you still wouldn't know
Right.
what to do.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. It's still going to be your first child with autism, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, the truth is too is exactly, and that's what people want to see. How are you learning as your first child and you don't know shiznick about this? You know what I'm saying? Like you
Yeah.
don't know either, and neither do they. So you build a community and a camaraderie around that, because all of those women who have their first child, like my daughter, her first son is autistic. She just had a second child. We don't know yet because he's just a few months old.
Hmm.
But the whole point is exactly that's exactly why you want to show people, because there's a lot of first-time moms out there going, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I have a friend of mine, she has a really big following and a huge podcast on this particular thing, because her son, her youngest, has autism. And she was I'm a chef, she was a chef, so we connected in that area. But then her son was born and he has autism. So she changed her podcast and everything to talk to moms with autism, and her channel blew up.
Mm.
But now, because it blew up and she's able to do that, now she's talking about nutrition and autism, how to take care of them, how to talk to them, how to teach them, like all that. And I mean, her name is Camille Joy, if your daughter ever wants to listen to it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll look
Um,
that up.
yeah, Camille Joy, and she's huge. I mean, she's known everywhere, especially TikTok. She's really gotten her thing in TikTok. But I say all that to say, she started not knowing either.
Hmm.
She started figuring things out. And then she's like, this didn't work. Don't do that. But like she was completely real and honest about it. And because she is, people love her and they follow her, you
Hmm.
know? So yeah, it's a great way to connect with other humans, but also make a business out of your knowledge so that you can keep learning and being with your child. That makes sense?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, tell me some of the myths about coaching. What are some of the stories out there that,
Oh, it's easy.
oh,
That you'll be rich in 3 days. That all you have to do is turn it on and everybody will come. All bullshit. Not true. All of it is bull. The truth is, it takes work and takes dedication. It takes you showing up. It takes you learning a little bit of everything, learning a little bit of marketing, learning a little bit of funnel building, learning a little bit of community building, learning a little bit of connection, learning a little bit of tools. And it takes all of that. And those are the biggest myths that I find with the women I work with, right? Because they come to me and they're either just starting to grow their coaching business or they want to grow, or they don't even know where to start, right? That's my jam. Those are the women I love to be with, because I love to, first of all, debunk the myths that you just talked about,
mhm.
asked me about. And I like to show them that it is a process. That's why a lot of women stay with me a year. And even though my coaches are always on my ass about how little I charge for the year, blah, 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 I just feel like, yeah, but these women are starting. right? So that's where I want to start with them too. I don't want to be charging 50, $60,000 for the year. I can because I have the teams and everything to back that up, but I don't want to. And so I take the women, they come with me, we do the whole wisdom foundation, we map everything out, and then I stay with them for the year because they're gonna run into a lot of bumps, a lot of imposter syndrome, a lot of I don't know what to do next, right? All the things. And the one thing I will tell everybody who's listening is that it's not an overnight success thing. That is a lie. That is a lie. Can I just say one more time? That is a lie. Okay. And when you get into this, I want you to come into this with the mentality of no successful business was built overnight, period. Every business, whether it's service-based, widget, whatever, there's a lot of behind the scene work that has to take place, right? So I just wanted to debunk that off the get because I've had people come to me and be like, "Well, I've put a post up and only one person liked it. This isn't working." I'm like, "I understand that, but you put it up yesterday." Okay, so can we hold on a second? And I just got a text from my client last night, like screaming and celebrating because she trusted the process like I told her. She did the posting like I told her. She did all her organic reach like I asked. And we worked on it together. And she already had like 4 one-on-one calls, right, from different people that want to be in her program. And she's like, "This shit works." I'm like, yes, I know, I know. It is so cute though when that happens to them
Yeah.
because it makes me feel so good. And it's like that type of stuff, right? Just a process, Lois. I mean, you've worked hard, you've been in business, you know what it means. You have to get up every day and you have to show up for you. And it's not going to be easy and it's not going to be super duper hard either if you have the right things in place. But don't think it's going to be overnight because it's absolutely not. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't think of any business that would be overnight. So it's like
Right.
just the way
Right.
life is. So you have
Right.
to build it. So
And
was
if they are, they end quickly. If they start quick,
no.
they end quick, right?
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. Because I think you could get a burnout even quicker if you
Yeah.
suddenly like, oh, all these people like, oh, this is too much. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how many widgets did we see come and go in like the last couple of years, right? Those fidgets. Remember the fidget widget
Hmm.
things? They
Yeah.
were like so popular. Everybody and their mother had one. Then they came out with the bracelet, the ring, the this, the that, the toy, the topper, but now you don't see them anymore. you
Hmm.
know? So that was a quick thing. It came. It probably works really well, which is great, but they come and go. And so I don't want people who work with me to be a come and go type of thing, you
Hmm.
know? So I stay with them for the year for leverage and longevity and strategy and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I think that's a great plan.
Thank
Well,
you.
Giant Builders, if you like this information, check out the links above or in the description of the other episodes that you might find interesting. So, what would a first meeting look like with you?
A first meeting is usually just a strategy call. So you come and you get into my DMs and we get a discovery call together. I don't sell on the first call, and I know that that's not popular for a lot of people, but I actually want to digest our conversation and see if you would be a good fit. I am very selective of the women that I let in the program because all of the women are on the same journey, but they're all purpose-driven women, and I can't have somebody who is not purpose-driven or negative or like any of those things. Plus, I'm a person of faith, and you have to be okay with the fact that I will be talking about God in my program. And if you're not aligned with that or don't want that, that's fine, but you just can't be in my program, right? And so I'm very, very strategic, Lois. So we talk. We talk about your strategy, what it is you want to bring to the world. How is it that you've been bringing it? What have you tried already? What has worked? What hasn't worked? I leave you with a bunch of strategies also. So in case you walk away from the call and you just want to go implement, go right ahead. That's what I want to do is serve. But that's what the first call looks like. And then we'll say, maybe we'll meet the next day or 2 days later or whatever and see if we both align. If you like me, if I like you, then we move forward. Otherwise, it was so nice to meet you. And I hope that you find the person that you're looking for, or I might even know someone that you can work with. But that's what it looks like.
Oh, that sounds
Yeah.
like a great strategy to start with.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think so. I mean, I don't like pressure selling. It makes me irritated actually. It's one of my pet peeves. And I think it's because I've been burnt in the past and I don't like that feeling. And I don't like the feeling of being like convinced, 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 convinced. And I don't like that. I want to come at something naturally and organically. So that's how I do it. Like it or leave it. That's just how I do it. I've had women like get mad at me because they want to sign up right there on the spot. And I'm like, can we talk about it tomorrow? They're like, are you kidding me? Nina, I have my credit card right here. I'm like, can we talk about it tomorrow? Can we talk about it tomorrow? You need to, pause for a second. I need to pause and we'll talk about it tomorrow. And they're like, they end up joining like the next day. But the whole point is I will not ever be accused of strong arming you into a decision. It's not going to happen on me. Not me anyway. I don't roll that way. Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well,
Yeah.
any closing thoughts?
I want people to just show up for themselves this year. It's 2025. Do me a favor and show up authentically and vulnerable. Stop putting on facades and shields and, all that kind of stuff. And for those of you who are trying to build a business, I will say one thing for you. Be consistent. Show up every day. Doesn't matter if not one person is watching. That doesn't matter. What matters is that you have an online presence because somebody who's wanted to shop, and I'm sure Lois has done this, I know I've done this. If I see something that I find interesting, I won't just buy. I want to know who that person is, what they look like on YouTube, what are they like on Instagram, what if they placed, what did they do on X, like that kind of stuff. Because if I'm going to be in that ecosystem where I'm giving my email and all that kind of stuff, I want to know that I like that person, right? So I will say to everyone who's trying to build a business, show up consistently. Don't worry about the numbers. Just show up authentically and show up vulnerably, and you will win. You will. That's my last thought.
Oh, that's a wonderful last thought.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you so much for sharing all your wisdom and just the insights that you gave for just women. Think about what your specialties are and can you make
Yeah.
that into something that you share with people? Because I
Yeah.
think that's what God put us on the earth for, is to share.
I agree with that 1,000%. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I
Well, thank you
appreciate
so
you.
much. Well, I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you too. All right, giant builders, see you next week.
Thank you for listening. This has been The Giant Builders with Lois Wyant.